Welcome back to the Green Festival edition of Green is Good. We're so excited to have with us today Kristen Drapesa and her
Head of Marketing,
Andrea Plell. Thank you for joining us today on Green is Good. You know, I was reading about your company last night, but before we get talking about Ecohabitude, can we talk a little bit about your journey, starting the company, how we even got here today?
Sure. So my background is really in fashion and business. And I moved to New York to work as a buyer for a company that was an e-commerce company, a startup again. And basically they were focused on green and luxury, which is really hard to do. And they have to be completely green and also luxury. And so for me, as I was working with them, I was really frustrated because I would spend hours, like 6-7 hours a day, searching for companies. I'd be online. And it was really frustrating to me because I'm like, why can't I find better companies? You know, I'd go through Amazon and there'd be like 20 pages to sift through of things.
Right.
Only to find out that like maybe 3 of them were actually really what they said they were. And then most of them weren't even luxury anyway. So then I'm like spinning, you know, my brain was just spinning. And then I would go to these trade shows though, like this, and lots of them at the Javits Center. And I was really inspired because I would run across these great brands that, and I was really bummed because I'm like, where are they? I can't find them in brick and mortars. They had amazing stories. Several of them were like, one of them that was really inspiring to me was a company that was making these beautiful textiles. And they would work with women in India who had come from abuse situations. Some of them didn't even have fingers. And they would teach them the skills. It was just a small company, husband and wife. And they worked with these women in these villages and produced these amazing products. And I was just really bummed because I'm like, why can't I find these anywhere? Why aren't there in more places? Why do, you know, the public can't even come into these trade shows.
Right.
So how's anybody else going to find them? And so eventually, long story short, the company I'd worked for, I'd kind of helped them redo their platform, their business platform and their website. They had a bad partner, so they let that partner go, and they had asked me to become a partner. And I was going to put some money into it as well. But we kind of went back and forth and negotiating on the business side. And I said, you know, for the amount of work that you guys want me to put in and the money I'm putting in and equity, it just doesn't really make sense. And I'd already seen the need for something like my company at that point.
The void in the marketplace was big.
And I just said, I go, you know what? I'm going to build something else, and I really hope that I can kind of support you still in your company.
Right.
And that was really the inspiration behind my company here. And so
I just want to step back. When I was reading about you, you grew up in Hawaii.
I did.
So Hawaii itself is a very lush and green area, pretty sustainable living there, right?
Yeah, and for that it's interesting. And I am native Hawaiian, and I've studied it quite a bit. My genealogy, my culture, and for the Hawaiian religion, interestingly enough, they actually believe that the earth is a god. There's several gods in their religion, but the way that they sort of revere the earth is as a higher power to them. So they did, you know, worship it, and they were very conscious in the way that they sort of operated their daily lives. You know, even the way that they were eating their food and things like that, growing their crops, and just in everything. So that's certainly.
So that was part of your. It's part of your DNA and culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
Andrea, where did you grow up?
I actually grew up in Washington State.
Washington.
Yeah.
Another very green part of this country, right?
It's very green.
Was your parents into sustainability when you were growing?
Actually, they weren't. They were really young when they had me, and they were kind of just figuring things out as they went. And so it wasn't until I moved out on my own and kind of something just clicked, and I started being a lot more conscious about the things that I ate, up to the things that I wore and how they were affecting different people. So I don't know if it was just some universal thing that happened to me as I got older. But
you saw the importance.
I did.
And it started becoming part of your lifestyle. Kristen, when did you start Ecohabitude? What year?
So I incorporated in April of 2013.
Okay.
But what we did is we actually built the technology platform. So we actually built the whole back-end software system. And so it took us a good 10 months just to build that. And then what we did from there is we launched a closed beta, which means that we launched the site, but what I did was it wasn't open for people to see, the public anyway, at the time. And we invited on like 25 brands that we sort of picked, that we knew we had relationships with. And we really asked them, like, what do you want to see? Like, what's going to help you sell better on our site? What's going to help you grow your business more? And then we kind of tweaked our platform to incorporate what they were saying to us.
Gotcha. And for our listeners and viewers out there, to find your website, they could go to www.ecohabitude, HABITUDE.com.
Yes.
Ecohabitude.com. So really, your website's a platform that creates transparency in the marketplace?
Yeah, we're really trying to build transparency, and it's also a peer-to-peer commerce website, meaning it's direct. So people come on and the sellers actually sell directly to consumers. And what we've created is just the online platform and the means we're like the conduit to do that for them.
So you've taken these small little gem business concepts and ideas that you've seen at the trade shows over the years, and you continue to source them and you put them on this platform. And then who so it's a B2B and B2C?
It's really a P2P.
P2P, explain.
So P2P is like peer-to-peer commerce, meaning this is kind of like an Etsy or a Store Envy or like an Amazon, where they come on and then they sell directly to the consumer. So we don't do any wholesale buying or anything like that. What we do is we just have the online marketplace. We aggregate the brands there so they can come on. And the benefit for people is that they can come, a mom, for instance, can come on there and she can actually find baby products for her child. She can discover new brands for beauty brands. She can buy household products. And we've really tried to create a space to be able to find as many brands in one place as possible.
So you're the founder and CEO.
I am, yeah.
And Andrea, what do you do with the company, Ecohabitude?
I do marketing and communications.
So on a day-to-day basis, you're getting the brand out there more visible in terms of the online marketing and also communicating to the people who are using the site, or just trying to bring more people onto the platform?
A little bit of all of those things.
Okay. And tell me, how's it going so far? What's the journey look like?
Great. Well, we raised our first round. We're opening our second round, so our Series A. And what we really want to do is bring on more developers and then more money into marketing and advertising for our brands. We launched less than a year ago. So we launched in late fall of last year. And we're close to about 400 shops now on the site. And we've got pretty much everything in every category. I mean, we've got bow ties, we have chandeliers, we've got baby products, we've got lots of fashion just by default since there's a lot of women in my company. And yeah, so that's kind of where we're at.
So you raised a seed round already.
Well, we're raising our A.
But before that, how did you even launch the company? So
I raised a seed round with 2 investors and myself. And then from there, we kind of built we had to build the platform, and then everybody's in-house now. So I have a small team of 8 people.
Right here in New York City, New York.
All in New York, except for Andrea's in the West Coast.
You're the West Coast. That's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a nice combination.
Right.
In a virtual world,
it is.
You can work virtually from almost anywhere and feel very part of it.
And then we also just hired another girl that's in Austin, Texas.
Wow.
So she works a lot with she's our brand liaison. So what she does is she works directly with the brands and then reports to the marketing team, mostly to kind of bridge that gap and say, these are the cool new brands that are coming on. They just launched our blog, which is directly connected. You can find it on our website. And so she kind of works with Anna to figure out who's the new brands, what we should be writing about. If there's a brand that has a really great story, we always try to highlight. We love talking about the story behind the brand. And that's what we really do is we love to curate all the brands on our site as much as we can.
So if I met you both on an elevator today and I said, well, we got 30 floors to give me your elevator pitch.
Yeah.
What's the mission behind the company and how does that tie to sustainability?
Do you want to take that or should I?
I mean, we can do 2 elevator pitches.
Yeah.
Okay.
My perspective on it is that we're making eco-friendly and socially conscious products more accessible to consumers.
Got it.
I mean, when Kristen started the business, really, her intent was to make it easier for people to find these really awesome small companies that are doing some really wonderful things for sustainability. And the unique thing about our site too is that we haven't got to it yet, but we have these things called eco tags. And eco tags are different badges of certification that different sellers on our site can claim to have in their products. So, for example, we have a badge called organic, we have a badge that's fair trade, we have a badge recycled. So within these badges, we're able to communicate better to the consumer what is.
So they don't have to go on a so-called Easter egg hunt to go find how sustainable is that product. They know, they look for your tags and they see.
And it's about making better educated decisions on products and what you're buying, because for consumers, for us to really change the marketplace, we really need to start voting with our dollars. And in order to do that, you really need to ask those questions as far as, if you're organic, fine, then how are you organic though? So for us, we're really focusing on transparency, provoking the thought and bringing the education there for the consumers to if they're not even thinking about it, they should be thinking about it and asking those questions. And so for us, the eco tags not only help to kind of track that product footprint, but for us, we're really trying to make it more of a normal thing for people to start realizing they need to be asking these questions and they should be thinking about these things when they're purchasing, because we all really do care. And I feel like, it's a matter of starting to just get more educated as far as what we're buying.
For our audience members and our listeners who just joined us, we're so excited today to have Kristen Drapesa with us and Andrea Plel. They're from Ecohabitude, Eco, E-C-O, H-A-B-I-T-U-D-E, Ecohabitude.com. So you mentioned earlier, ladies, that you have approximately 400 vendors right now.
It's going on, yes, yeah.
On your site that our listeners could come on and buy from in a lot of different categories.
Yes, directly from them.
Directly from them. Explain your business model. How are you a sustainable business? How do you make money from this? So I understand.
Well, right now, because we're in the startup phase, we're actually not making a lot of money.
Okay.
What we're really trying to do is just build up the site.
Okay.
Eventually, what we'll do, just like an Etsy or a Store Envy, is what we'll do is we'll take just a small transaction fee from the sales that happen on the site. And for sellers, it's very beneficial because for them, there's not a lot that they're giving up in order to sell on there. It's a couple of points. What they would otherwise pay in marketing and social, we're doing a lot of that for them, and we've built up our social media that we've got a pretty large audience at this point, and we're less than a year into it with the blog and things like that. So
we also have a showroom as well.
Yeah, so we do really try to heavily promote the brands. Andrea, we pair up a lot with a different media, like for what was it, Christmas, I believe it was, we took one of our brands and we got them on CBS, The Talk, the morning show.
That's great.
And we really try to get them. Andrea works really hard in trying to leverage her relationships with magazine editors. We have them coming in and out. We try to get them in mainstream media like People's Style Watch, Cosmopolitan, and things like that. And
so then, as you mentioned earlier, you try to curate their stories.
Right, absolutely.
And get those stories out there.
Yes.
So you have 400 now. What's your goal? How much are you trying to raise in this next round, the A round?
The next round, we're raising several million.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, I've had a lot of feedback from VCs that are like, yeah, she should raise 7 to 10, she can do that. But I'm like, you know what, honestly, we don't need that much. We're a small team. My team is amazing, actually. I'm so proud of them. We're like this little family, but everybody is just so passionate about the business. And for us, I'm just like, hey, all we really need is a little bit more money to market and advertise for our brands, and we're good. And so that's what we're really looking to do in this next one, is just raise a small amount just so that we can continue sustaining the business.
If we were sitting here a year from now, how many people will be on the platform? How many companies will be on the platform then?
I'd like to say a couple thousand.
Okay.
I mean, we're hoping to at least have 1,000 this year.
We're down to about 5 minutes, so I want to
Sure.
understand. So the 400 that you have now, how many countries are they from? I mean, how diverse is this marketplace that you've created?
It's growing. It's mainly in the U.S. We do have several Canadian brands and then several international brands. So Spain, Iceland, France, London. We leverage all our payments through Stripe. So it's like a PayPal. So everything's done through Stripe. And so we are a little bit limited at this point of who can sell on there just based on what countries Stripe is operating in. But we are pretty much around the world at this point. We'd like to grow our UK presence a little bit more just because they're a lot ahead of the curve as far as, sustainability goes.
Who's doing, in terms of who's doing what you're doing? Are you the only one? I haven't heard of this before. So are you the first of your type in this area?
We really are essentially the first P2P marketplace. There was Abe's Market, I would say, is probably the closest thing to what we're doing. But they're a little bit more food-based. I feel like we're a lot more lifestyle. We're very heavily fashion-focused and lifestyle-focused. But yeah, essentially like a true P2P. I believe we're the first.
Are most of your users, the people buying online from you, men or women right now?
Women.
Yeah, mostly women. But funny enough, when we were looking at our analytics, there is quite a bit. I was surprised as far as men users on our site, which we were shocked about that because I feel like sometimes we try to be more versatile and men and women, but of course, we just by default, I think, have a lot of women's products. So.
Right, but as you continue to grow, you're going to do baby, more men's, more.
I mean, at this point, we've got men's shoes, we have men's bow ties, I have chandeliers, I have furniture, I have women's fashion, we've got beauty products, we even have food products.
What's the what's the least threshold that a product can have? How many eco tags, and how many is the most, like the best product that you have? How many eco tags does it have?
They have to have a minimum of 2.
Okay.
And so
cool.
And it doesn't necessarily maybe have to be green, but it has to be in some way, shape, or form socially conscious. So a brand could be profit shared, and then they could be made in the US. So at least they're sort of thinking about the way that they're, building their brand and their product. And then some of them have like 11. There's some brands that are like tons. And the point is that somebody can go on there and really base their decisions on how important it is to them. So if somebody goes, you know what, they're not doing enough in their company that I want to buy from them, cool.
But it's easy. When I'm on your site, it's easy just to see how many tags. So I don't have to sit there and...
Right.
So do you have like an eco tag person?
Yeah, well, we have brand development. So what we do is we go in and then we'll make sure, because we can see all the new brands, and then we make sure that they're, abiding by the standards that we have. And also, just a side note, with the eco tag, it's not just pull a tag. You actually have to open it up and you have to explain. So you can't just say, I'm made in the US. It has to say, okay, I'm made in the US. Where are you made in the US? And we're actually overhauling that, and we're deploying an even better eco-tag system this June.
It's great. So you're constantly evolving it.
Absolutely.
That is great. We're down to the last minute and a half or so. I'll leave you ladies with the final word.
Do you want to... Go ahead, Andrea. I feel like I've
Shameless
been talking
plugs. Go ahead. Shameless plugs for your great marketplace.
I would just say, if you thought that green was really crunchy in the past, go to Ecohabitude.com because you'll see an abundance of all the beautiful, eco-friendly, and socially conscious products that are really available to the marketplace now. And you'll be surprised if you didn't know already. Now you know.
And they're made around the world. Some of them
all around the world. I mean, we have some gorgeous fashion all the way from London and Spain, also Australia. So and they've been they have a really prevalent sustainable fashion industry there. So it's nice to be able
awesome.
to see this craftsmanship
Well,
and have it available here.
Well, that's awesome. And for our listeners again and our viewers, go to www.ecohabitude.com to buy some of these great products or to join the marketplace. Get on the marketplace and apply to join yourself. Andrea and Kristen, both of you are sustainability rock stars and truly living proof that green is good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.